Continuing in Tenerife for the missing teenager Jay Slater, 2 weeks after he disappeared. Police on the island have called for volunteers to help them look in the area where he was last seen. Well, Jay Slater attended a music festival on Sunday, the 16th of June. He was staying at an apartment in Los Cristianos with a friend. But after the festival, he went to a different apartment in the Masca area where he stayed on Sunday night. His last recorded location showed rural Deteno Park, a mountainous area that is popular with hikers. Now, one of his friends says he called her on Monday morning to say he was lost, he needed water, and he only had 1% phone battery left. He told her he was walking back to his apartment after he had missed the bus, but that would have been an 11-hour walk. At 9:04 on Monday, the 17th of June, he was reported missing. Today, a team of volunteers are helping authorities with a large-scale search, retracing the teenager's last known steps. They're focusing on the ravines and trails around the village at Masca and the surrounding national park. Becky Johnson is on Tenerife and sends us this.
Well, this was a day when the police decided to put out a request for experienced volunteers who know what they're doing in these mountainous conditions to come out and join what it was saying would be a massive search, the biggest search yet. So we saw police as well as volunteer firefighters, some volunteer rescue workers and a handful of volunteer members of the public gathering this morning. Now then, the mist had risen up through these mountains. You could barely see in front of you. The conditions here really are incredibly unforgiving, actually, not what you might imagine for weather in the summer in Tenerife. And since then, they've been fanning out through these valleys. Now, we're not too far away from Masca, which is where Jay Slater's phone was last located. That'll be 2 weeks ago on Monday. But when you look at the terrain all around, you can see what the search teams are up against. It's incredibly dry. It's incredibly steep. It's slippery. It's dangerous. There are sheer drops. So we've seen teams going as far as they can in vehicles. In fact, there's a vehicle just coming back up now. They've obviously finished searching this section, then going out on foot, some using ropes to try to get down these incredibly treacherous ravines, really in what they are saying is the biggest effort yet to try to find any sign of Jay Slater. Now, of course, for the family who haven't taken part in this search today, it's just desperate times waiting for any news, any sign, any hint really of where Jay Slater was. But what we did have earlier today was an update from the police, which is it's actually been quite rare. They've not really been giving us, the media, very much information. And as part of that, they said that the two British men that Jay Slater left a music festival with down in the south of the island and stayed at an Airbnb with the night before he disappeared. I asked the civil guard when he'd spoken to those two British men. He didn't answer that question. I'm just going to move out the way because there's another vehicle coming. But he did say that he doesn't believe those two men are important to the investigation. So that's new information, really. And information has been in quite short supply. And we know that that has led, in some cases, to speculation on social media, which we know the family are finding incredibly unhelpful. So as you can see, this dry, dusty terrain. So yeah, just a few hours ago, shrouded in mist, cold, a little bit damp. Now it's absolutely baking, dusty. So the teams are working as quickly as they can, but they have a mammoth task ahead of them. They're searching an area that is many, many square kilometres. And I did say to one of the volunteer firefighters, I asked him if he had hope, and he said he did. But I have to say the expression on his face painted a rather bleaker picture.
That's Becky Johnson reporting.